I just wanted to make a comment on the town hall meetings. I feel that if I personally had a problem with what was going on, I would actually show up to these town hall meetings. So right now, I don't really have a problem with what is going on, and yes, I am a Democrat. I'm a registered Democrat. I don't really have a problem with what's going on. I'm not saying I'm, full-fledged Democrat, and I don't have a problem with everything. I do have a problem with some things. But here's the problem I am having. I'm having a problem with the conservative media taking these town hall meetings and making them seem like all Americans think this way. Because not all Americans think the way that the conservative media is thinking. Another thing that I wanted to say...
Well, first of all, Jonathan, let me ask you this. Let me stay with this for a second. Who is the conservative media?
Media is Fox News. It's Michael Savage. It's Rush Limbaugh.
Do you suppose that these people you mentioned, all in total, do they have a larger audience than every other media outlet out there? The other cable news networks, the mainstream networks, all the newspapers, and the Internet. Do they dominate, do you believe?
Okay, I believe that, yes, okay, I know Rush Limbaugh is one of the most listened to, and I know that Bill O'Reilly is one of the most watched shows on television. But here's my point here. Here's my point, and I need you to answer my question. Do you believe any of these people, do you believe any talk show hosts, combined or standing alone, have the dominant corner on the message today? Do you believe that's true? Oh, yes, they do. They do have the dominant corner on the message.
Jonathan, how can you honestly say that? How can you look at what? Do you have cable? Satellite?
Yes, I do have cable.
Would you take an honest-to-God look when you get home at the list of offerings on your cable or satellite provider and look at the networks and honestly tell me that the general public is more inclined to be hit over the head with the conservative point of view than one on the left? Are you honestly prepared to make that case to me tonight?
Okay, I'm going to make the case to you because I live in Texas, first of all. So, yes, I will make...
Even so, television, let's focus with television, even in Texas. Are you telling me that the preponderance of Texas television is sympathetic to the conservative point of view? Honestly, Jonathan, the newspapers in Texas? Honestly, Jonathan, now, you're talking to the people here. I can smell this from a mile away. Be honest.
The San Antonio Express News endorsed John McCain as well as other Republicans.
All right, you named a paper. And an endorsement in a newspaper does not make it a conservative publication.
Hold on here. Not only that, but the rest of the news stations here, they report for the right. They don't ever say anything about the left and how the left does this or the left does that. Plus, not only that, all of our elected officials happen to be right as well. Not all of them. That's changed.
Jonathan, one of your congresswomen was on the freaking cell phone talking while a cancer patient was speaking out to her. Do you actually support that kind of thing? That's a Texas representative on a freaking cell phone while a cancer patient said, "I'm concerned about what you're doing." Now, that's from Texas, Jonathan, and that was nationwide.
There's a Texas representative that also wanted to vote for having people with gun permits carry guns on college campuses. So
Yeah, and what's wrong with that? It's a freedom issue also, Jonathan. That's a freedom we're granted in the United States of America. It is. It's in document form, I believe, actually.
Have people go around, just like the guy in Virginia Tech, happen to get a gun and just, go through the system, get a gun, and go and shoot up a campus? Are you kidding me?
Jonathan, I don't know what to do for you, buddy. I don't know what to do for you. Thanks for the phone call. I mean, you're not... I can't... How do you have a... I guess this is what Barney Frank feels like, I guess. This is what Barney Frank was saying? What did he say? Having a conversation with a kitchen table or something? How can anyone say that with a straight face? The man lives in a world where he truly believes that the preponderance of media is sympathetic to the conservative view. That is befuddling. You can't have a... Okay. I mean, if we can't agree on that, then what logical conversation... Okay, Judd, you get it. Albany, New York. I'm wearing out here, Judd. Poor Michael, every day. This is what Dr. Savage does every day. I'm just a guest. I don't know how he manages, Judd. Welcome.
Hey, I wanted to talk to you about possible loss of freedoms that people might not be anticipating here, and you spoke about that in the last half hour. I had lunch last year with a friend of mine from Canada, and we sat down, ordered a burger. I ordered a medium rare. And he looked up from his menu across the table from me, and he said, and I'll never forget it, I forgot you can do that here.
You know, that, in fact, Judd, listen to this story today. Topeka, Kansas. Police warning local bicycle owners they could face up to $76 in fines and court costs if they're caught peddling unlicensed bicycles. 27 cyclists in Topeka, Kansas have received citations that include a $10 fine plus $66 in court costs for riding unlicensed bicycles, Judd.
Not using gas. You know, I mean,
it's just, I mean, I don't mean to make light of your point, but that's exactly right. This is what happened. It's not overwhelming traditionally. It's slow, steady trickling.
And
right?
Man, oh man, I listen to every year in my school, we are very fortunate to have a Holocaust survivor come in and speak to our students as they read Night by Elie Wiesel. And what she says, and I know I'm getting into a taboo area here with this Nazi stuff, but she just says it was very slow, meticulous, very carefully planned, and that's how they got away with what they did. But that point aside, what I wanted to say is, it's these little things that people take for granted now that, look to the north. Everybody tells us, look north, look what Canada has. Well, look at Canada. Talk to some people in Canada and ask them what they can and can't do. And I was shocked.
Well, Judd, in fact, I've got a story on that coming up, too. Thank you for the phone call. And to Judd's point, that last call from Texas, it really has nothing to do with the health care debate, but he brings up guns. And what does he do? What does he do to justify or call radical? Your right to bear arms is radical to that guy in Texas. That's the kind of cancerous, toxic thinking that is going to bring you socialized medicine, that brings you fines for peddling an unlicensed bicycle. A crazed, sick shooter on a college campus now has a Texan in the United States of America convinced that your right to carry, your right to bear arms in the United States of America is something that ought to be curtailed because someone killed on a college campus who was out of his gourd. This is how it happens. Or some sad sack story about somebody that doesn't have health insurance now means the overwhelming majority of this country, who had poll after poll after poll, who said we don't want anything to do with this, and we're happy with the current system, or at least we're more happy with the current system than we are what you've got proposed. You're being ignored. It is, well, all I can say is God bless Talk Radio. God bless the Savage Nation. God bless you for being here. 800-449-8255. Chris Stigall in for Dr. Savage tonight on the Savage Nation.
Savage. Borders, language, and culture. You care about these things. I tell you why they're important. The Savage Nation, weekdays 3 till 7 on Talk 910 KNEW.
Conversation with you would be like trying to argue with a dining room table. I have no interest in doing it.
It's the Savage Nation. My name is Chris Stigall in for Dr. Savage tonight. Thank you, Michael, for the invitation. Banned in Britain, his brand new book, not published, not touched by any major publishing house. Why? Well, I sat during the break. I have to say, I was talking with some folks on Savage's team here and just ruminating with my own thoughts here. Caller from Texas who was trying to genuinely make the case to me that overwhelmingly media in this country is sympathetic to the conservative cause. And to the extent that Barney Frank, I agree with him there, arguing with that point of view is like arguing with the table. How do you have that debate? I mean, this is a guy in the state of Texas, folks, and really you have to, liberalism, Michael Savage said it best in one very simple to understand sentence. Liberalism is a mental disorder. And here's a guy in Texas who said to me with a straight face, and I was so befuddled. It doesn't happen often in my talk show career, and frankly, it makes for pretty poor talk radio, admittedly, honestly, usually, that I was so flummoxed and so stunned that he said with a straight face, most media in the United States is sympathetic to conservatives, and number two, with genuine shock and horror that there was a Texas congressman who offered an amendment to, I know, get ready, legally carry guns on a college campus. And he cited the Virginia Tech shooter of a few years ago as why that is just crazy talk, why that's just outrageous, forgetting that we have a constitutional amendment and just and basic bare rights to bear arms in this country, just forgetting it, just out of sight, out of mind. And I said during the break, I was talking with people during the break, I said, how is it that people operate that way? How is it that they believe? And all I can conclude, they see these town halls, hundreds of people gathering mad, outraged, trying to keep government at arm's length, trying to stop this march. It so offends their sensibilities and their cocoon of their mental disorder called liberalism, they figure it must be manufactured. It's got to be a movie. It's got to be straight out of Hollywood.